Hello, everyone, and thank you once again for joining me, Jan Harp, and my husband, Mr. Chris.
Howdy.
So, as we were thinking about what time to put these vlogs out, daytime hours was not realistic at all. Anything straight through the evening is just not realistic. And so I'm usually up late. Anyone who follows either of the platforms, you know that I'm usually up in the middle of the night. The platforms are active, so it just makes sense to be the late night show.
There we go.
And so we are here to just chop it up. So we're just here to chop it up. So I wanted to start these late night chats with a discussion on the weakest link. So today, who would you say in our household was the weakest link?
On what?
On COVID-19 exposure. Me?
This one here.
Why?
Because you're always out there doing good, I guess.
Nope.
We both out there, so. But.
Now, today we had to move a client, and I was thinking about this myself. I said, okay, which one of us in that situation was the weakest link? I would have to say that you were the weakest link because you had to push the dolly thing. And that was probably filled with germs.
I never touched the dolly.
You didn't?
No, you pushed the dolly. I never touched anything.
I touched it. That was me pushing.
That was you pulling the dolly, not me. I carried the bags, but you pushed the dolly. See?
Sadness. I guess I was. Today I was. And you know what?
And
actually,
guess what
I will concede.
Who bought sanitizer?
I was just about to say that. I have to concede because see what he did? Because we've been doing this weakest link thing now for 3 days. And so I know that it was you that put all those empty bottles of sanitizer in the back seat to throw me off. And so I thought there was sanitizer in the car and then come to find out they're all empty.
They were all yours. That's why I picked them up.
No, those are not mine.
Yes, they were. I picked them up throughout the car because we use them all the time. But I keep one on me, so
she didn't bring one.
She didn't bring one.
I did forget the sanitizer.
See,
if immunity is, relying upon us having sanitizer today, then I was definitely the weakest link. Okay, so who's the weakest link in your house? Oh, pop it in the comments or just have a discussion amongst yourselves. You don't have to let everybody know. But there is a weak link in your house, and we want you to take care of it. We want you to fix that up, tighten it up. So we can flatten the curve. Okay, so on to the discussion, just chopping it up on daily news and politics. So
I try not to watch it anymore. It's too sad. So she tells me everything on it. So.
And you know what the funny thing is? Now there's a few people on here that really know us personally, and his doctor told him to stop watching the news. That's how much he watches the news. And now that this situation is going on, I want to stay abreast of current events. I want to understand what resources are available. Want to make sure that I'm giving my clients the best information possible. So in this situation, I'm keeping up on it more so because it's like research to me, not so much because I'm enjoying watching the news. It's like,
she know numbers, so think about it. She know the numbers, and like everybody want to hear the numbers and the statistics. No, I don't want to hear none of that. No, not at all.
And we're going to chop that up. We're going to chop that up in 2 seconds.
Because our community is not heeding to too much of anything anyway. It's just a handful of people, I guess. But if you go out there, people everywhere.
Yes. So, yeah, so I'm not sure who was on the page.
Parties, they doing everything.
And you, well, all right. So I don't know who was on the page this morning, but earlier today, I did a watch party with the announcement from Governor DeSantis. So if you were in that watch party, then you saw some of my comments on.
I missed it.
Yeah, you did. You missed it. But there were some folks who were there with me, and so I appreciate y'all for tuning in earlier today to help me to have a place to vent as I watched the governor, do his discussion on this, still what seems to be, it's like a kind of forced, kind of voluntary. Self-quarantine. People are getting off the plane and they're being given a letter that says, you're agreeing that you're gonna, come to Florida and then, go to your hotel room and then stay there for 14 days
on the beach.
It's always
that
expected.
Don't make sense.
None. And so I was fully expecting.
It makes sense.
that he was going to come on earlier today and he was going to have, you know, this big announcement about how everyone is now in unity and they're all on the same page, that everyone stay in your house otherwise, you know. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, of course, it's a touchy subject both ways because, I mean, right now, I just, you know, was out with a friend and he was commenting on the police presence in our neighborhood. And it is true, you know, there's always that, you know, that what do you call it? Like, you know, that invisible, you know, thing that we all know happens whenever there's this vague law that says that, you know, everyone is open target for harassment, a ticket, you know, or this or that. And then boom, our sons are on their way in the wagon. So the thing is, you know, I get it. You know, there's two sides to, you know, any type of decision that's made. And as we were chopping it up amongst ourselves earlier, we didn't really come to a conclusion on what is good to do in this situation, what's not good to do in this situation. One of the things we commented on earlier was that if your kids did not listen to you before this got started,
now listen to you now. So that's not going to work at all. If they wouldn't listen to you before, they ain't listen to you now.
Unfortunately, you know, whatever situations and problems you had before the announcement came that COVID-19 is something serious that we need to be, you know, taking seriously, and self-quarantine and so on and so forth, while the tourists are still coming here.
Exactly.
But that's another story. Chop that up in a minute. But they're telling you to, you know, self-quarantine, and they're saying, you know, this is serious, but in the big picture, whatever was going on in our household was going on before the COVID-19 announcement. So if your kids really weren't paying attention to you saying that there's a curfew, you should be in the house by such and such a time, and so on and so forth, if they really were not listening before, just let's keep it real, right? If they were not listening before, then they're not listening now. I don't really know all the rules on sharing
kids all
stuff.
over the place.
Everywhere they having like block parties.
Yes.
They chilling.
We got one house that just people everywhere.
There's like
almost
a whole
every day.
street.
It's a whole street of them.
They got plates,
just kicking it. They
drinks,
all out
music,
there.
chilling, just chilling. I don't understand. But there was I don't know what the rules are on sharing, you know, published articles and clips and stuff like that. So until I learn a little bit more about that, I'm not gonna post anybody's anything. If you really want to know about what I'm talking about, just Google it and you'll find it because they're like trending stories. So there's a man, and probably like if you Google man refuses to let his son in the house after he went on spring break in Miami.
When he was told not to.
Right. So it was like he came down here like just as the news was going, and the father said, you know, do not go. You know, you and your friends need to just let that trip go. And the son and the friends are like, no, we're going. And so they go. And as they're there, all of the news keeps heightening. And the father's like, come back. They don't never come. So he says, like maybe a day before they get back, like, just know when you get here, you can't come in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they got here, he said, okay, you need to find an Uber from the airport because I'm not driving you. And then when the son got to the house, he said, no, stop right there. Don't come no closer. He had put the groceries in the car. He put a check. That was nice of him, though. He put a check for $300 on the front seat.
He did love him.
Yeah, he did love him. But he said, no, grandma and grandpa, stay here with your mother and your father. And for some odd reason, you don't seem to care that what you're doing is putting us in jeopardy to die.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So, okay. You got something to say on that one?
Mm-mm. Way to go, father. That's a good father.
That was a good dad. That's a good dad.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, just taking a moment to just keep it real for a second is that, you know, whatever, you know, I just recognize that whatever it was that was going on, you know, in your world that you were struggling with before this announcement came, not only are you still struggling with that, but then you have the added frustration of all of the new nuances that this situation has brought upon our society. We are, for those of us who are self-quarantined, we are learning about the digital world and becoming comfortable with just being ourselves in front of a screen. You know, there are people, I've spoken to people and they're saying that, you know, I'm not going back to church. They're comfortable with being able to see the same pastor, the same congregation members, hear them through the screen.
Through video.
Yeah. And then, they love the convenience. Oh, and then I just hit PayPal and give my donation.
Oh, so they're doing that too? I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, you can, they have the collection moment. It's just a virtual collection moment where you go on Cash App or Zelle or PayPal or whatever it is that, maybe you on the church website at that moment and they have a link.
Paying your tithes through your credit card in the church.
Yeah.
So same difference.
Yeah, same difference. So
they pull out the little card swipe thing.
Mm-hmm.
I should just go right there and give you your receipt later. Awesome.
It's true. It's true. So, technology was already inside the church and, inside many of the different institutions and companies that we utilize every day. But we have to accept and recognize, which gets me, to question you on the main thing we said was going to be the point of these vlogs, which is to question people's perception. That's the goal that we want tonight, is to question your perception. It's not that deep though. But so
just sign like, here we go.
Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing the social work thing again.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they call it in my house. I'm doing the social work thing again. I know that he's delirious. I'm used to being up at these hours. This is my time.
No, I'd be up too. We'd be
relaxing. He's chilling.
I'll be chilling. So
see, this is my best friend right here.
Oh Lord.
Coffee. And so
I tried to get me to go to Starbucks today. And I bought a coffee machine and everything. She can have Starbucks like coffee right now. Still.
We already established that I was the weakest link and then you still had to tell them about Starbucks.
No, I'm just saying that this is
I hurt my feelings.
I'm sorry. I didn't hurt your feelings. It was a coffee came up. It was a coffee story. So I said it.
I'm hurt. But okay. Yes, I did want to go to Starbucks in theory, but I knew I was just venting, I would like to go to Starbucks. And I knew immediately he would jump in there and say, are you crazy? You want to threaten our family's health and living for Starbucks? I already knew it was coming. For Starbucks. So, okay. See, now I don't lost myself. Where was I? Jesus.
You said the coffee, we was on perception.
Yes, perception. But yes, see, it brings me to questioning perception, right? Because technology is already in so many areas, right? But at the same point in time, it's missing from so many areas. So I'm one, I love everybody, but at the same point in time, I'm not gonna, feel bad about, speaking directly to my community, the African American community. I'm not gonna feel bad about that. So, in this moment, right? And it's not even just us. There are, like I said on a different blog, there are Caucasian people, Spanish people, African American people that are working right now at jobs that were considered to be like, oh, that's just customer service, or, you're working in a minimum wage job and so on and so forth. But yet right now, those are the essential workers. And those essential workers right now, unfortunately, are part of the front line. Like they are part of the front line of people who could possibly, contract COVID-19. They're part of the front line on everything. And yet just now, while they're risking their lives, you're willing to pay them $15 an hour. And I'm not even sure if that's across the board. Do you know if that's across the board?
No, not here. It's not 15. Mm-hmm. It's a little above minimum wage because a lot of essential workers here, I don't know what makes them essential. It's confusing.
Don't say it. Don't say that joke.
I'm not saying it wasn't a joke like that. I'm just saying as an essential worker, what category? A lot of people are still working.
Oh, and if you want us to do grown-up jokes, being that this is like the end of the evening, by the time this goes on, most of the time it's going to be about 11, midnight. We're going to sit down and do this like around 10:30. So you let us know if we should put any adult jokes down.
No. Why?
The joke about the essential workers. That's a funny one. I love that joke, but I don't know if that's appropriate.
No, it's not. I don't even know what you're talking about.
The joke that Jerome sent. The joke that Jerome sent.
Oh, no.
That's a funny joke, Jerome. You was a funny one. So, yes, but I mean, really, in the bigger picture, okay, these very workers who were considered, low wage earners, they are now on the front lines. They're the essential workers now. And some, corporations in some sectors, they're being given a couple of dollars extra, the same dollars extra that they were asking for before, saying that, hey, the job we do is worth more money than what you're giving us. And when they were told, no, all you're doing is, and now they're essential workers.
But that's another thing too, to say who's an essential worker. I don't think a hotel clerk should be an essential worker.
But what about
now,
because we have a tourist,
because we are a tourist town and everything, and
mm-hmm.
our hotels make it like all the hotels now are basically booked
mm-hmm.
because this is the time when we have a high season time and people start vacationing in Florida and mm-hmm. everything goes up, everything, but that shouldn't lock you into an essential worker.
But
I
I look at it as this, like the people who are here, who are snowbirds, and they set aside, however many months to be here. They're
housekeepers
here.
And stuff, they're essential workers.
Because those people paid for a service and it needs to be sanitized.
I understand.
But I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day, if those people did not come back to work, then all the people who are getting shelter right now in those places would essentially be displaced and they would be on vacation but homeless.
Gotcha.
So, I can see why they would be essential. You're not feeling me still?
I'm still not feeling you.
I can see it in your eyes. But okay. So, that's
it's essential for us.
To you guys. Put in the comments, do you think that the people who are being called essential workers right now, do you think that those people are actually, essential? Like
medical workers. Social
we all
services.
Agree. We all agree
all
on
that stuff like that, yeah.
We all agree on that. Social services,
all that
nurses,
stuff.
doctors, medical profession, essential. But now this morning I saw Starbucks open, which is the reason why I ended up asking about it. I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't even be saying their name on these things. I guess they'll give me a warning first. I hope. Jesus. But so I saw that place open with the siren and the green. Saw them open earlier today, and I was thinking in my head, I said, are they essential workers?
It's essential. They look at that. That's an essential work.
That's when you have a socially acceptable addiction.
Need coffee.
Yes. You do not want us coffee drinkers to be out there in the public without our coffee. You do not want us to be without our caffeine. But so what I'm saying is that, okay, so we have these people on the front lines who are now essential workers, but let's remember they had the same issues going on before now in light of COVID-19, right? So before they didn't have the money to buy a computer maybe. Yes, they may have cell phones and you may say, oh, if they didn't have any money, they wouldn't have a cell phone. But no, you're able to save up and do different things. And so if, your kid wants a cell phone, you're going to get them, a cell phone. That's what you'll save up towards, is to make sure that your child has something to help them to feel, as though they're, part of the mainstream of what kids get. You don't want your kid to feel left out. So I get that. And you need a phone because you need to hear from your job. You need to hear from your kids when you're away from the house and so on and so forth. So I get why they have a phone. But then that same household may not have an actual laptop or computer. And that is what you need. Number one, you need that right now to even file for unemployment. Because in case you've been trying to file for unemployment over your phone, I can let you know that the reason you're having problems is because that Connect website is not compatible with a phone. It's not compatible with a mobile device. So for people that do websites, they know that there's one screen for your regular desktop, and then there's another screen that you use to optimize your mobile view. So the thing is people may have some type of technology within their home, but because up until 2 weeks ago, they weren't essential workers. They were low-wage workers who didn't have enough money to afford a lot of the things that are now essential for us to be home.
Exactly.
Like their labor is essential so that we can be home. But their labor was not essential enough for them to get a living wage in order for their children to now have computers, in order for them to comply with what society is asking them for, which is to homeschool your kids.
Exactly.
which, from what I understand, the system crashed today because it wasn't prepared to have all of those users.
It can't. It's not. It wasn't set up that way. A lot of systems aren't set up that way. The system for unemployment in Florida ain't set up that way. They can't take all the calls and the people applying for unemployment like they are now. It's too many people. The system is just messed up. It's too many people applying. So they're not set up for it. So that needs work.
So you're talking about over 3.5 million people here in the U.S. in total who are unemployed right now. And every day that number just keeps growing. So just to divert for a second, stay indoors. And if you need an example as to why, think about unemployment. The same way that the phone lines are overwhelmed right now because of an influx of people at one time. That's what they're trying to tell you about the medical system. Like in a minute, the medical system is have this influx of people supposed to be in 2 to 3 weeks. That's when we're going to reach the apex. They're supposed to have this influx of people if we do not stay indoors. So that was my side, PSA announcement. But back to technology. So there's like all these new demands that are almost being pushed upon us as though accept this as the new social norm.
Yes, that's coming.
Yeah. Look at the headlines. Really look at the headlines.
A lot of stuff isn't going to go back to where it was. I'm telling you.
This is the truth.
Yeah, not jobs, not anything. I'm telling you, it's not. It's just not. It's because this society is built on if they're not dying in droves, so hey, it works.
And how many? No, but listen to what he's saying.
Starving to death, but it works.
It's the truth because we just had one of don't quote me because like I said I did not pull up these articles, but if you Google this, you will find it on your own. So lawmaker says older people should not be worried about dying. They should be willing to die for the economy. I think that's the headline. Lawmaker says older Americans should be willing to die for the economy.
He loses his seat.
We hope.
He's going to lose his seat, definitely.
Did everybody see that?
Trust me.
That's the thing.
But that's Texas see that? For you. I think that was the lieutenant governor of Texas.
It's scary. It's scary.
I'm telling you.
And so that goes into
old people should take one for the team. That's crazy.
That's the thinking.
That is crazy.
That's the thinking. The kids are out there chilling, like it doesn't matter that they're gonna bring back home these germs that could possibly kill grandma, grandpa, mama, and daddy, and aunties and uncles. Mm-hmm. And then you have the politicians that are saying that the economy is basically more important than people's lives. Not sure if you've been paying attention to the fact that the reason why places like Florida, which are what is it, red or Republican?
Red state.
Red state. So we a red state.
We kind of in bluish,
just
reddish
because they
color.
changed blue for Obama does not mean.
Yeah. So
I can't. But
we're mostly red.
Exactly. Sadness because they are siding with the president right now, and the president is trying to, beef up the industrial industry to produce the things that are needed to address this pandemic. And although that sounds wonderful, like, yay, put Americans to work, so on and so forth. The bad side of that is that while they are trying to get their machinery and their contracts and all this other stuff that goes into the production of those materials, while they're trying to hammer all that out, people are dying. People are dying.
Sick and dying.
And so once again, if you Google it, Governor Andrew Cuomo, he's just been such a blessing during this season because he's just such a voice of common sense. It's not even reason. Thank you, Lord, for just small blessings within the political system. But he is definitely one of them. Like if you're gonna watch someone and try to get an update from a politician, he's the one I would say to watch. So he's on there and he's explaining that the reason why he's getting supplies is because he's going out there and he's going on the international market. Even though our president completely trashed China anytime he can, China still said, you know what, it's okay. You know, we will still sell you these items. And, you know, that's one of the things that we have to learn in business. I had to learn that myself. You know, sometimes people are going to, you know, kick you in the face and trash your name and all that other good stuff. And you still need to be able to turn around and smile and say, you know what, that's okay. I'll still work with you. And so that's
business is business. It's not personal.
It's not personal.
It's just not personal. So at all. Business is business. It's not personal.
It's not. It's
not. Nope.
But for Trump, it's personal.
Oh, he keep everything personal. He's a kid.
It's personal.
Exactly.
And so if you listen, see, that is why I always try to, you know, push and promote independent news. You know, watch
various news. Don't just be stuck on one thing. Watch various news things.
Please. Because when you watch someone else's perspective on things and then you compare it with the perspective that's being presented to you in your own area, you say, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. But that makes way more sense than this here craziness. And at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense for us to sit here and wait for you to be able to, you know, mass produce these things when there are companies that are already out there that can mass produce them and you're not trying to work with them because you don't like them. While people are dying and states are in bidding wars with each other
for supplies,
essential
supplies and stuff to help their state. So it's ridiculous.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So, you know, like I said, we're just here to chop it up, you know, and just lend a late night voice to some of the stuff that you may be pondering in your own mind. But I push you, you know, in this little first episode of ours, we mutually agreed that the push is going to be, why is it so hard for you to accept the hidden truth? So the things that are in between the lines, my notes are right there. But why is it so hard for you to accept the hidden truth? Like we play around with that whole conspiracy theory thing, but it's not a conspiracy theory. It's plain, like right before your eyes. It's just up to you to take a moment away from recreation. And even if it's just 5 minutes, trust me, you can find out so much information, even in 5 minutes on the internet. Just for 2 seconds, just go and pull up Roland Martin or pull up Boyce Watkins or pull up RT News or Al Jazeera or any of these different, you know, news channels. Just pull up one and just take a few moments and see what they're talking about. So then when your governor comes on the TV and says, you know, we're waiting for, you know, we're gonna be able to manufacture these things, is I think like the word in that was used earlier today, like we're gonna manufacture these things. See, when you hear that, it's like, oh, okay, great, they're gonna jump on it, they're gonna manufacture these things. But then if you've been listening to New York, you say, well, wait a minute, they in a bidding war right now because y'all crazy people won't, you know, utilize the international market properly. So why are you worried about trying to manufacture stuff at home when it's available right there? These are masks. These are not things that are going to kill us. It's not like you buying the vaccine or the cure.
Testers, equipment. They have it in containers full of it. That's right there to sell. Buy it, use it. Why not?
Yeah. And they need federal dollars in order to help them to be able to afford these things. They're waiting just like you, just like me, just like we. Everybody waiting. But once again, that goes into perception. I asked on the page not too long ago, you know, do you think that the federal government is sitting somewhere really trying to figure out your financial, you know, well-being right now? When have they done that? Like, what is it that they've done that made you think to yourself, like, oh, not only are they going to help me, but they're going to help me quickly. Like, it's going to come right on time, and it's going to be, you know, a blessing to my house because we're going to be able to do all the things that we needed to do and blah, blah, blah.
They're not. They don't work that way. If you've been here long enough, you'll get an understanding. You've been here long enough, or you watch this government long enough, they don't do nothing too much for anybody.
You're supposed to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps.
Exactly.
And
that's it.
Last I checked, there's no discrimination, there's no hurdles, there's no bias, there's no, you know, people that have a better chance than you, period, like across the board. We're not even talking about a race thing. We're saying just across the board. Whoever you are, whatever you look like, I want you to evaluate your situation. And I can say it with so much confidence because they said that 99% of us are in the same boat. So they're sitting back and they all meeting up together because it's all different kinds of nationalities and races in the Senate and in House of Representatives. It's a whole bunch of them. They all going to golf together. They going to lunch together. They hanging out. And I think that they're just laughing at the fact that the constituents can't figure out that they all in the same boat. But we create these barriers based on, what the powers in the media and so forth say are supposed to be the barriers. Like, you're not supposed to like me. I'm not supposed to like you. If I say this, then it's not okay. Now we can't talk. Now we can't work together. Now we can't do this. We can't do that. And all you're doing is just limiting yourself from having a collective voice and from being able to get anywhere because you're too busy worrying about party lines. And
there's a right wing and left wing, but they on the same bird. So no, they're all the same.
Yeah.
It's just a game. That's it.
Chess.
It's a game. That's it.
Chess, not checkers. It's chess.
And corporations pay all of them. Both sides. So don't listen to that nonsense. Both sides get paid. Both sides.
No, because people too busy saying thank you to Ms. Pelosi over the fact that she was able to get them to give oversight for all of the $500 billion that they're going to give to corporations while they're arguing over whether or not we should get $1,200. If you're a married couple, you get $25. You get $500 per kid up to 4 kids or something like that. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not saying that the government should be giving handouts to everybody. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you have governments like Australia's government. You have governments who just said, you know what? These are extraordinary times, and instead of us worrying about, all of the checks and balances on who should and who shouldn't, we're just going to give it out across the board.
And we're going to worry about the particulars
later.
That's how they did that. And they still were getting everything done over there with people. They paying people, they money, everything. They working it out later. Like, no, we need this. This is an emergency. So.
Exactly. So you know where their priorities are. And the thing is you really have to ask yourself, why is it so hard for me to accept the truth? Like it's a little bit hidden. It's in between the lines. I might have to watch news from over here and over here so that when I listen to what's being said to me, I could tell what's crap and what's real. I might have to do a little Google search every once in a while and, figure out, okay, what does the House of Representatives do? What is this branch of government, responsible for? How is this bill going to affect me? Not just Google, when am I going to get my check? No, how is that check going to actually affect my life? Because one of the videos that we've been putting out over and over again is to try to inform people that this is actually a tax credit. So when you go do your taxes next year, we still don't.
This government gonna do nothing for free.
I haven't even been able to figure out what tax credit it is that they're taking from. There is something in there that kind of, hints towards like you could possibly owe them. So the thing is like, we have to research. We have to research it, especially now in this day and time. We have to get past these little, foolish nonsense that divides us. And we have to look at the international community. Stop thinking that, we're just in this land of milk and honey. And, I'm from America, I'm from the U.S. or whatever it is that we've been saying somewhere, and really look and see that, no, the birth certificates, the birth statistics in the U.S. are not even comparable with some third world countries. Like they have better birth outcomes than we do. There's a whole bunch of things that we are falling behind on. I have friends who came from Trinidad when they were little and they were like 1 and 2 grade levels ahead of where they were supposed to be by their age for the classes that we take. There's such a disparity amongst so many things, and yet we have the time to waste time doing nonsense. So I encourage you to, share this video, rewind it, do a little bit of research, and definitely, just question your own perception. At the end of the day, what's your closing thought?
That was a good point. I like everything you said. So you did so well on the closer. Because she's been vlogging way longer than me. So there you go.
Well, I hope you have enjoyed this time with us. As I said, we'll be here in the evening, unless, you know, some transitional housing situation pulls us away. Our goal is to get in front of this vlog at about 10:30, and then upload it by somewhere between 11 and midnight. And hopefully we can be your late night station. You'll find this on Jan Hart or Jeanette Grace on Facebook. You will also find us on YouTube at Holistic Biz Space Coaching. So Holistic Biz together, Space Coaching. Also on Twitter, Holistic_FL. On Instagram. What?
I don't know what's on Instagram.
Holistic Coaching FL. And Firmly Established. Firmly Established is our nonprofit. And right now, our nonprofit has partnered with a local soul food restaurant. It is a generational business that has been here for over 20 years. So 30 years, I'm sorry, over 30 years. His parents started this soul food restaurant on the corner of 9th Street and 22nd Avenue South here in St. Petersburg.
22nd Avenue
Yes.
South.
And so he is blessing the children with hot meals completely for free. And as you know, in economics, there's no such thing as a free lunch. So on our platform, we are doing our best to help raise money to assist him with that effort. Yes, we have donated. We have donated food items to that endeavor. And so we are just asking that people come alongside of what we have already done and what others have already done.
And we have friends donating food,
yes.
So people just give.
Yes.
Help when you can. Let's help each other.
Yes, definitely, definitely. So, you know, please go on either, as I said, Jan Harper, Jeanette Grace on Facebook, and you'll see the link. If you look on this, the comments on this vlog, wherever you're seeing this, you'll see there's a link to our holisticcoaching.info website. And from that website, you can get to the nonprofit page, and on that page, you can leave a financial donation. Now, your financial donations, those will go to services that are being provided now, as well as continued efforts after the COVID-19 has allowed us, you know, it has passed, subsided, we flattened out the curve, and people are able to get back out there. There are going to be continued needs. So we definitely want to, you know, start fundraising in order to be able to address those needs when the time comes. Everything that we get goes back into services. We do not take any of that money and put it in our pocket for paychecks or, you know, we don't have any payroll. We volunteer our time, and everyone else who, you know, comes alongside, they volunteer their time. So far, we have not been grant funded. We have been self-funded all the way along the time that we've been going, and we continue to seek out new ways to fundraise and be able to, you know, raise the monetary needs in order to address the community issues that we come across by providing free case management to youth and families that live below the poverty level. So if you would like to learn more about our nonprofit, Firmly Established, please, as I said, just visit the link in the bio or the comments for wherever you're seeing this. And we look forward to seeing you again on our next Late Night with Chris and Jan.
Did we have did we put the people that donated on the website?
Yes, we have had them on our website. So those are banner ads. So, you know, when people donate, we do put their logo. Yes, we put their logo on our site. Sometimes if a fundraising event causes us to market for 3 months, you may get 3 months worth of advertising on our page for as little as $25 donation. So we always tell people, hey, if our page is good enough for a Google banner ad, then it's good enough for you.
That's right.
So, you know, please take a moment, as I said, holisticcoaching.info. Check out our page, check out our services, check out our nonprofit, leave a donation. If you are in the St. Petersburg area, drop off your food at Atwater's Soul Food restaurant on 9th Street South and 22nd Avenue South. And we greatly, greatly appreciate you. And once again, don't forget to come back
and we're going to do other
night
stuff
and
too.
chop it up.
It's not going to just be coronavirus either. Or,
no, and
she's very professional too.
I didn't feel as though this was really like all coronavirus. I'm trying to think your perception, like use this situation to explore your perception. The way that you respond to this can open you up to understand how you respond to life in general.
And we're going to get on the topics of what we can do to, what would be, what can we get out of this situation as Black people? How can we make this situation work for us? Because I know there is a way. Just got to seek it out. But how can we benefit from this situation?
And we're not gonna tell too much about what we have coming up, but we do have a nice plan for this vlog series. We are going to make sure that we give you resources. So if you follow Jeanette Grace and Jan Harp, you know that I'm all about resources. So you know I could never do a vlog series and not give you resources. So the thing is you know, just stay tuned. We're definitely going to have some resources. I guess just a hint, go ahead and do a little bit of research on the stock market crash. What was that? See, I don't remember the numbers. Was it 1820, 1921?
Was it 1921?
Yeah, you know when to Google the stock market crash and look at how the market fell, and then notice that the market still recovered. So even though they talk a lot about how the stock market crashed and all the people that, you know, killed themselves, which is absolutely horrible, do not kill yourself because you ran out of money. God is real. But, you know, it talks about all the negative things that happened during that crash, but there's a other plus side to that crash as well. A lot of people got rich, completely, utterly, disgustingly rich. So, you know, there's always opportunities, there's always threats. I say you should be able to apply a SWOT analysis to every situation in your life, you know. So what are the opportunities, what are the threats? That's right. What are the pros, what are the cons? So even in this situation, you know, as we, like I said, change over and start to use technology in a different way, you know, there's people who are going to be left behind because they don't have the technology. I mean, look at right now, like you have to be able to jump right into it. Like, boom, you need to know how to use Zoom, you need to know how to use Instagram, you need to know how to use all social media platforms, you need to know marketing, you need to know blah, 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 blah. You need to know all that stuff within a week and a half in order for you to get your business or your church or your endeavor or whatever out there. Because now there's no more face-to-face. There's no more any of that. You know, email marketing is cool, especially if, you know, your base really knows you. Phone solicitations, very, very time consuming. You need to have a list. Mail blast, once again, you need to have a list that costs a lot of money to be sending out, you know, all these hundreds of, maybe even 1,000 pieces of mail in order to try to get people to get back to you. So the most inexpensive and efficient way is to jump online and be able to utilize social media in order to get your word out.
That's right.
And, you know, there's people who are going to be able to capitalize off of that. There's going to be new people who are going to enter into the market because of this shift. And there's people who are going to exit the market because of this shift, because they're not able to keep up, or they're not able to stand out anymore because it's now such a saturated market. So, you know, that's all. We were ending. You told me don't give people so much in one.
I told you, but you just can't help it.
I can't help it. I talk to you.
You're just so nice.
I'm a social worker.
See, exactly.
So, see you again, same time, same place. Let's see how this works out. Late night with Chris and Jan.
All righty. Here we go.
My dog knows how to open doors. I do not know how she does it, but she knows how to open doors. That door was closed, and my dog opened the door and came in. I don't know how she does that. That's scary. If I could get her to do it on command, then we could be rich. So, yes, we were talking about perception. We have to cut this and we have to find out and go back.
No, that was it, right? Real.
No, okay, what we were speaking about was technology. The technology is already in these places, right? And I was going, I can't. We got to stop it.
Through the church and everything else. We have to stop because you can edit it.
I have to get back to where I was, though. Can we keep up?
Awesome. Also, you pause stuff down there too. That's awesome. This is an awesome thing here. Oh, I can't have my glasses on. Get two videos.
It was fun.
Yeah, but then if I have it on, you got another video, then I got glasses on. So people know you edited the video. I'm doing all that. magic stuff. People not supposed to be doing. Well, this isn't live anyway, so I'm ready whenever.